Hello guys, it's also from Time to Invest. Today is May the 4th, 2016, Wednesday. I just wanted to do a quick video about the budget 2016. As you can see on the screen, we've got winners and losers, so I'm going to rate them accordingly, and I'm going to be a little bit fast because I don't have much time on this recording. The small business as a winner, I think the small business, it's not really a winner because once they have to pay tax and the turnover is 2 million on annual turnover to 10 million. So they're not seen as a really a winner because even the treasurer is saying, the labor treasurer is saying that the way they qualify the small business is that small business and should be earn up to 2 million a year. And the way that they classify the small business is 1 billion. So you can actually call McDonald's as a small business, which is not. So we'll just leave it at that. And losers, small corporations. Well, small corporations, they really don't really need the money anyway. But if you still tax them, we'll tax at the higher rate of 40% of profits. So if you start taxing them too much, the Apple, the Google, the Yahoo, and the small and big business like that, what's going to happen is they're not going to be sending mobile phones to Australia anymore because it costs them too much to pay tax. So they just do them on China and sell them elsewhere where they can get less tax and higher rate of income of profits, and forget Australia. Smokers, I really don't have much the feeling for the smokers. I don't really think they should be selling tobacco, but um, the government is a little bit hypocrite anyway, because if you're going to be taxing somebody 70% on cost of cigarettes, you shouldn't be selling the cigarettes anyway. So what you're doing is you're ripping them off, knowing that they are addicted, they have to smoke, and you're taxing them more, thinking, well, by taxing them more, they're going to stop smoking. That doesn't really work. So what's going to happen is they're probably going to be more um, it's going to be more violence and more crimes because they need the tobacco, and the government is, by taxing more, is encourage them in um, yeah in is encourage them in more violence and things like that. So they should completely slowly they should put a law up there and slowly say all the tobaccos, all the cigarette companies will be closed down. They are absolutely not good for your health, and all will be closed down by 2016, end of 2016 or end of 2017, and that's it. And do whatever you want to do, but it will be closed. So you better stop smoking. We're not going to be selling anymore. We have so many numbers and thousands of people dying of smoking and cancer and other diseases derived by the cigarette every year. So that should be gone. And not taxing them more. That's just being hypocrite. So um, working parents should be getting more money because they are working hard, and they some parents have two jobs, and moms are working from home, and then they have to go out there and work as well and come home, and they have to deal with family, they have to deal with childcare, and they have to deal with the mortgages and everything else in the house and the childcare. So that's very expensive. So they should be the number one thing that the government should be uh, giving them money. But in saying that, what the government should be doing is putting courses and education courses out there to support working parents in being more efficient and in being more educated. Because just by giving them more money, they're just going to go out there and buy more flat screen TVs and spend more money in other things as well. So I can see why they didn't want to give them more money, but childcare should be number one assistant there. A lot of parents, they do want to go out to work. A lot of moms do want to go out and find work and do things out there, but it costs them more to have their kids in childcare than if they actually go to work. So one income will go to childcare, and it's not fair. So I can see why people are just option to just moms are just options to stay home, because what's the point of go to work and you earn, let's say, $1,000 and $1,000 a fortnight, and you have to pay $500 a week for your child to be after school care. This is after school care, not childcare. It's after school care. So after childcare is even more. So that's really, really unjustified. And the government doesn't really give rat's ass about it, so they're not giving anything to them. Universities, well, universities losers. Well, in the end of the day, you go and study. While you're not acting like we achieved the government, we kept almost 2 billion in savings for a higher education reform in your form estimated. So I don't really have much to say on universities and students, apart from if you want to be and do something, you have to be genius, you have to be savvy, you have to be just by going out there and spend years and years and being a professor or being a doctor or being something, that it's going to be very hard for you to be employed by that profession in today's day and age. I can see nurses, teachers, they would if they would look back and think again, oh, would I be going back and do teaching course or a nurse course? I think most of them will say no. They're just on that profession and they just have to stay on that because there is nothing else that they know how to do. I'm going to move on to the ATO. ATO, of course, the ATO will be a winner because ATO is part of the government, so obviously the government is on the business of taxing you more money, regardless in how much you earn and what you do. They want to tax you as much as they can, so they can keep people employed and watch over, see everything that you do. Public service. Um, it's sad that public service is not getting anything. Um, the public service people they keep in education and they keep in social work, social kind of business and interact people together. So they should be getting something because if you take that away and you increase 12 hours, which I see happen in a few places, you walk in there's no service, there's no one to talk to you, ask you anything. You spend hours just to find someone and ask a question, in hospitals, in other public service that you need, and it should be more supportive, and they're not. So that's all I have to say about that. Now, cars and drivers, well, I don't think they should be needing any they should get 350 million, while there will be 500 million for the Monash Freeway. Well, they shouldn't be getting anything because the government already charges every time you go through CityLink and Monash Freeway, you have to pay a fee, and you pay already $750 or more in some cars, in some cases, for your car. You have to pay that for your registration, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So I don't agree with that. So I'll move on to the next one, and the Apple middle earners. This is Scott Morrison, Chris, the second highest brackets front and central to the budget and the speech. Well, what he done is with this one, uh, majority of Australians they earn between 45,000 to 65,000. This is the majority of earners' income in Australia. Australians constitute with about 23, 24 million population in Queensland, in Melbourne, in Sydney, Canberra, and so on. So 23, 24 million, let's say 24 million in population, and majority of these people they do not earn 80 to 87,000. They earn between 45,000 to 65,000 or even 70,000, but they do not earn, there's not many of them that earn 80,000 to 87,000. So what the government is doing is only the people that earn 80 to 87,000, will be getting 25% for work in Australian set up to be benefit. So anyone else loses because they are the poor people, they are the middle class poor people. They're not getting anything, including the moms and dads at the top there, the working parents. So they have the mortgages, they have the childcare, they have the bills expenses, the water, everything's going up in value, but they don't get anything, on a tax rebate because they don't earn 80 to 87,000 each year. And the people that earn 80 to 87,000 each year, they earn very good income. And I'm sure that they also have bills and they also have houses and they also have, but they get a boost incentive of 25% of working Australian set benefit. So it's not fair. If you're going to be doing for one, you should be doing for all. You should be doing between 45,000 to 87,000. All these people will be getting those 25% work in Australian set benefit, not 80,000 to 87,000. So that just shows that um, they trying to justify that they robbing from Peter and they giving to Paul. So they're robbing from everyone that earns less. And the majority of Australians, I probably would say, honestly, I would say uh, this is just an estimate guess. I would say 15 million to 20 million would be earning 45,000 to 65,000, and maybe 3 million or maybe even 5 million will be earning 80,000 to 87,000. Uh, so as you can see, uh, he doesn't want everyone to to discuss about his budget or to point fingers on him about he didn't do anything for us. So in the end of the day, you have to look after your own partners at the parliament that earn that amount, the ones that you see every day and make you coffees and shit. You look after them too because they earn 80 to 87,000 each year. So if you take the tax benefit from them, they're not going to support you. They're not going to give you a vote. So, oh well, that's what it is. Next one. I earn an income. So upper middle earners. So he calls that a upper middle earning income, which are the ones that we talked before, and those ones is a higher income, so they're neutral. So those ones actually earn more, but they're neutral. But in saying that they earn more because they also do more work, so I'll just leave that as neutral. Low income earners, so those ones don't get anything. In saying that, also, you cannot just be giving money all the time. You have to learn how to go and fish. So if you want more money, you have to go up there and learn more, have more education, find out how other people make their money, how other people are so successful and you are not, and follow their patterns and copy and model and do everything possible to earn exactly what they earn as well. Not just sit there on your bum, fucking go and work every day and expect to be earning a lot more and pay less taxes. So, you have to stop being fucking lazy and get out, go and get some job, and go and get some education, go and do some investment, go and learn with people that are successful and move on. So I don't really have much feeling for them either because I can see why the government don't want to give them anything because you can't just keep giving people money and help them and they just sit there and they just pop there and they don't do anything. They're not doing anything for the society. They just believe they should earn more money, but they're not putting any hard work. They're not building any business. They're not supporting other people. They're not supporting agencies. They're not creating jobs. They're not doing anything. They just go and work every day and they believe, oh, I should be getting paid more. So I don't really agree with them either. Parents are different because they have kids and they have to keep up with their job and keep up with their kids and education and so on and on. Also, they shouldn't be sitting on their butt, but at least they are busy. They're too busy and they do want to do stuff, but sometimes it's just so busy that they don't have the time to go and study, go and do a night course or learn other sort of skills. Um, Now let's move on to the health. I think the health is absolutely a disappointment. The government should be throwing more money into the health system. It's already a disaster as we speak. I've been in a lot of hospitals and you wait too long, and by the time you have an X-ray done or this or that done, it's too late. So you do have it done. You do have access to your Medicare to go to places and do things, but sometimes it's too late. Or if you have to have an operation, if you have to have something actually done, you can't wait long. You can't wait 2 years to have a fucking operation, right? You don't have the money. You have to go to a public, which means you have to wait for that long. So the government should lift that away and see how much you contribute and how much longer should you wait. So if you're a person that you work most of your life and you contribute a lot on taxpayers and all that, and you need an operation done, you shouldn't be sitting in there and wait for 2 years. Because somebody else is in front of you that never contribute, always been on the dole, and do not give a shit about it, and that person is actually in front of you, then you contribute. So the government should be taking more in consideration how much you contribute and how long should you be waiting. So let's carry on. Schools, like I already mentioned, school should be the government should spend some money in school, but in innovation stuff, not on the same old thing in just building more pathways and basketball and gymnasiums and stuff. No, they should be spending money in innovation. They should be spending money in new programs, in new skills, in new professions to do with digital world, not what we see out there, or the same old thing. And all the kids just keep passing on to the next stage, even though that they haven't learned much. They just each year they just pass them on to the next stage, regardless if they know or if they don't know. And that just carries on to the work system, to the workforce. And some of them don't even know maths at all, don't even know how to add 4 times 4. They don't know. um, they there, in the workforce, and they passed, and they're just there. The government should be more responsible in that, and I think they should be putting more money to schools, but not like um, Kevin Rudd and Julia Gillard did in building more pathways and more uh, things at school. They should be putting money into uh, a better education in digital world, in programs. They should be hiring people with really good skills, go out to the schools and teaching them actually to build a program, how to build a program, how to make an app. A kid of age of 5 and 6 should know how to make an app, how to build a program, and that would be very productive, because by the time they actually enter the workforce, um, we would have a handful of people with very good skills. And you don't really need to throw too much money on it. You just have to throw in wages and time, which is not much. Well, I'll carry on to Defense Force. Yep, Defense Force, they're looking into buying some submarines from France, or France to build some submarines for Australia. Currently, the defense of Australia is dealing with France to build some submarines. In saying that, they speculate about wars, and a war could break in between China, Russia, and US. And China is just next door to Australia is just next door to China. So what kind of defense does Australia have? So that's the kind of thing that they're looking at. Yeah, we have some good defense, and we have other countries supporting us, but we have to be able to support ourselves. So let's move on to the public broadcasters. Not much to say about the TVs and broadcasters, but I would just add that if you're good in what you do, people always wants to see and buy your product. So they shouldn't be giving any money to SBS. They should be producing stuff out there and and be a profit business. They should have somebody run it, a CEO running as a profit business, and you shouldn't be needing any money from the government every now and then, money from the government. That shouldn't happen. That should be profit coming from the business and reinvested again and growing and growing. So obviously they've been used to giving change nappies and giving food all the time, so they just always expect more. Young job seekers, the job seekers, wow, this is so changed, man. This is so different. Um, the job seekers, let's see, a new initiative, a young jobs pathway will provide 752 million to get under 25 and currently unemployment benefits trained to under the workforce. So they will be giving 752 million dollars so they can get people under 25 years of age and currently on employment benefits to be trained to enter the workforce. $752 million. What a joke. Um, they need people to go to workforce, but the thing is, people just going to be doing those courses because they want to keep getting the money from the doll. So if this is mandatory and they have to do it, uh, that's what they'll be doing. So they just go and do the course, and doesn't necessarily mean you have to find work. You can always say you couldn't find work, so but you've completed the course because the government is paying for it, so everyone passes anyway. So you didn't complete because you know what you're doing. You complete because you attended. Um, so that's what the problem is. People are doing things because they believe the government has to look after me. They have to give it to me. They're not doing it because they want to do it, because they have the incentive to do it and move on. They want to stay there. So why would you want to do some course and go and get a job that you earn less than 40,000 or even 50,000 when you can just be there and not have to go anywhere, and you earn enough just to eat and to move on and to leave, and they pay you a house and they pay you places to stay. So that's what the government is not seeing it, because they don't know anyone that, or spoken to anyone that been in that kind of business, that they can tell them why does people want to stay, and how do you actually kill that culture and change it, right? And make people actually want to go to work and be successful and not be sitting on the door and collecting money every day. So if they got no perspectives and they've got no schooling and they've got no education and they've been on the dole for 3, 4, 5 years or so, and this come up and say, well, you're gonna have to go and do some sort of attendancy course, because it's not even like electrician, it's not a university course, it's not a job that you're gonna earn good money and sustain yourself. It's a job that you're just gonna get by. You're just gonna do it, and if you're lucky, you find a part-time job and you do it for a little bit, and yeah, and you probably find a place to live. And once you lose that, or you lose that job and you can't find it anymore, you go back to the doll and you want more. And that's what the problem is. The government should be changing that. So as long as they keep doing that, it's always going to be, this money is a dead money. 752 million is dead money. Um, Unless the government completely changes. Yeah, let's say from 100%, maybe 10% or 15% of people on the dole might move into that, but I doubt it, because as they can see, taxes are more expensive, things are more expensive. They just rather sit in there and get paid from the dole and don't want to have to do anything. Um, I'll leave it as that. And it is a mystery. Yes, it is a mystery. Reflecting decision 2001.3, and it's not yet announced. So it's disclosed. I'll say in 2019, almost 2 billion. Um, it is a mystery because we don't know what's coming, and this is just subjectory, which anything can change. And things can change month to month. It can change, month to month and year to year. So it depends how the economy goes, but Everyone have forecast in the US and Europe that this year is going to be much tougher, much harder, much darker than any other year before. And if they really believe that the economy is going to be growing by 3% each quarter, I don't know. I doubt it. Good luck. That's very, very positive thinking. That's very conservative thinking. But I don't think we'll be growing at that rate. So, especially China, and we're right next to China. So when China goes, I don't think we're going to be able to survive it. You know what I mean? But we have to be positive. We have to be, uh, you know, we have to create. We have to do the budget each year. So let's wait and see what happens. But the thing that I hate the most is they should be supporting the parents because the parents are in a really, really hot spot with kids on mortgage and childcare. That they have to do it, they have to get through it. The university kids, that's up to each individual. You can skip that up. You don't have to be a professor to be successful. You can be successful in many other ways in just a small little business. So doesn't really need to. Public service, it should be more supported as well because if you want the best compared with other nations, you have to put the money on it. Drivers is not necessary. ATO is not necessary. Upper middle class earners, this is just like looking after your bodies. And the low income earners, how they're gonna make it if they don't earn enough money and everything is high, more expensive. GFC is more expensive. The tax good services more expensive. Everything's more expensive and they expect them to pay more. So yeah, I don't think it will be a brilliant year. I think this year will be very, very tough. We're coming up to the third quarter. Um, we done the first quarter and we now in May. So we're just entering the January, February, March, April, May. So we're coming up to the third quarter of 2016. And yeah, I mean, it's just really, really, really bad vibes from overseas. And let's see how we're going to cope with this. Um, I'll leave my comments at the end, guys, and this is my thinking on my program. Time to invest. It's time to invest in your education. It is time to invest in your on your thinking, time to invest on your informative channels and other ways that you can learn. This is what my channel is for, is to support you in learning, in invest in your own education, invest in yourself, and do your own investment. So I'll leave you guys in peace. And if anyone has any questions or would like to drop a comment or thumbs up to my channel, please find me on Twitter as well, Time to Invest, and I'll be more than happy to communicate and change ideas. Thank you guys. You all take care and